us a profound insight on the SDG goals. And we are moving on to the third day. Today we have the resource person, Dr. P. Geeta. So we expect to have a fruitful session today as well. And to proceed with the session, now may I invite Dr. P. Jayakumari ma'am to deliver the welcome address. Ma'am, please. Ma'am, please unmute yourself and
Kingston, is it audible? Kingston?
Yes, ma'am, it's audible, ma'am.
Very beautiful good morning to everyone. I welcome you all to the third day of the FTP program on environmental, social, and governance framework for business. I am extremely overwhelmed by this opportunity to address you all on this occasion. First and foremost, I extend my regards to our Secretary and Chief Patron, Sri APC V. Chokkalingam sir, and our Principal, Dr. C. Veerabhagu sir, for their continuous support and encouragement. I would like to give my regards to Christu Jayanti College, School of Management, Bengaluru, for co-organizing this faculty development program. I welcome all the faculty members of Christu Jayanti College, Bengaluru. A special mention to my dear friend, Dr. Baba of Christu Jayanti College for his support. I extend my warmest welcome to our resource person, Dr. P.C. Geeta, Faculty, School of Management, Christu Jayanti College, Bangalore. Welcome, ma'am. We are looking forward to the amazing time of sharing your experience and knowledge on governance practice of ESG in business. I am pleased to welcome Dr. Marianevi Soris, Head of the Department of Commerce, and other faculty members of VO Chidambaram College and other colleges, academicians, entrepreneurs, and research scholars. Your overwhelming response and esteemed presence in this platform add color and vibe to our effort and our FTP. Once again, I welcome you all.
Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful welcome address. And now we move on to the guest introduction, which will be delivered by Professor Maria Quinn Ans, Assistant Professor of PG Research Department of Commerce. Ma'am, please.
Good morning, everyone. I feel extremely honored to introduce the chief guest, Dr. P.C. Geeta ma'am, Faculty, School of Management, Christu Jayanti College, Bangalore. She has been working around 15 years she has an experience of 15 years and 12 years of industrial experience in various sectors. She has been working as a marketing executive in Protect Limited, professor of CMR Institute of Management Studies, and DG Vaishnava College. Currently, she's working as an assistant professor at School of Management, Christu Jayanti College of Bangalore. She has published more than 25 research papers in national and international journals in areas of diversity and inclusion, personality, ethics, and emotional intelligence, and many chapters in books. She has served as a resource person in the field of research, analytical corporate governance, and HRM. She is currently working in the area of human resource analytics, inclusions on corporate governance, etc. She is also a member of Board of Studies of various B schools and has also completed fully funded micro projects. The presence of such a personality is a blessing. We hope that we will see guidance and invite something from her thoughts. We are very grateful to have you, ma'am, and thank you for accepting our invitation, marking your presence here. I now invite her to enlighten the participants with the words. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much for your kind words. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You're audible, ma'am.
Right. A very warm welcome to all the participants too for this wonderful session on wonderful FTP sessions. And in today's session, we will be talking about governance practices of ESG in business. So ESG is a newly evolving word, or it's an acronym which has been gaining significance in the last decade and in the last few years in specific, especially in alignment with that of the SDG goals, United Nations SDG goals. So in this session, I will take you through corporate governance, and we will see some of the corporate governance in ancient India. Then we will talk about what is this ESG, even though you had a few sessions in the last 2 days. I will touch upon the meaning of ESG and how ESG has evolved. We will see some of the companies which are really working in alignment with ESG. And then we will see one case study from Accenture. And then finally, we will see what are the ESG awards given to various Indian companies in the year 2022. And with that, we will wrap up the session. So with this agenda ahead of us, let me move forward. So I am Dr. P.C. Geeta, and I work as Associate Professor in School of Management, Christo Jayanti College. I have been in Christo Jayanti College for the last 6 years. And before that, I've been working in various colleges, both in Bangalore and in Chennai. I'm basically a Tamilian, and I've been living in Bangalore for on and off after my marriage. So coming to the session on corporate governance. So dear participants, what do you think is the history of corporate governance? How long is corporate governance in India or in ancient India? So we all know that corporate governance, the basic fundamental pillars are accountability, transparency, responsibility, and fairness. So these are the four common pillars, or four main pillars of corporate governance, on which the entire corporate governance of an organization stands. So if an organization is set to follow these basic tenets or basic principles, naturally the company's corporate governance will be very effective and efficient, and it will draw in a lot of profits and prosperity for the organization. So with this basic introduction about corporate governance, now we are going to see how was corporate governance in ancient India. Can anybody comment on it? Any thoughts about corporate governance in ancient India? Do you think really corporate governance existed in those days? So what do you think is a possibility? Okay. See, for example, this corporate governance is not new to India, because a lot of ancient scriptures and even in Tirukural, in Tamil poem, we have a lot of epithets on this corporate governance. A lot of work has also been done on the book called as Kautilya's Arthashastra. Okay, so concept of governance is not new to a country like India. So we have a very rich history, rich heritage, and we also have a lot of history of how governance should have happened and how effectively we have governed the kingdoms. So the ancient scriptures talk about a lot on this particular area of corporate governance. And one Mr. Ravindranath has written a lot of papers in this area of corporate governance in ancient India, and specifically in concern with that of Kautilya's Arthashastra. So just to recap, what is Kautilya, who is Kautilya, what is Arthashastra? So Kautilya is one of the famous statespersons, or one of the guardians or teachers of the Emperor Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya is said to have created a very vast empire called the Mauryan Empire. And this Kautilya is said to have, the time period of his existence is said to be from 3rd century AD to 3rd century BC. So there is some kind of debate or discourse happening on this exact timings, but it is somewhere close to 3rd century BC to 3rd century AD. And this particular person was an excellent scholar, and he studied at Takshashila, and he's written one main book called as Arthashastra. Now, this Arthashastra is said to be the basic foundation of how a country should be run. What should be the principles based on which the country should be run? Who are the key components of that particular country, etc. And this particular book has a huge scope, not only in nature of governance, but also how the law, civil law, criminal law, just imagine in 3rd century BC, talking about civil law, talking about criminal law, criminal court systems, ethics, economics, markets, trades. It also covers areas of how you should choose ministers for your kingdom, what should be the various principles of how a war should be conducted, what are the duties and obligations of a king. So it in detail encompasses various aspects of how the governance of the country should happen or the kingdom should happen. And the same governance of a country can be translated to governance of a particular company. Okay, so the king can be compared with that of a CEO, and the people in the kingdom can be compared to that of the stakeholders of an organization. So Arthashastra says that all those who are in the governing position or who are at the topmost administrative position should serve as servants of the people. So either servants of the countrymen or servants of the stakeholders of an organization. So it compares the monarchs or the governors or the administrators to that of servants. And it also emphasizes the fact that the people or the stakeholders should have a power to remove, to recall, to send the particular king or send the particular CEO out. So if the particular people or the stakeholders have that kind of a power, naturally the kingdom will be a very stable kingdom. So we all can compare that particular situation with the current political situation. We can always see if the people have the power in their hands, naturally we will have good governance. So it applies to countries, it applies to states, it applies to organizations also. So basically, there are 4 basic duties of a king. And these 4 duties can also be compared with the 4 basic principles of a CEO or of the board of directors. So the basic duties of a king according to Arthashastra are Raksha, Vriddhi, Palana, and Yogakshema. So Raksha basically means protection. So when we say protection, he is supposed to protect his countrymen. It also means that an CEO should be responsible for all the stakeholders. So whatever activity, whatever the CEO does or decision he takes should be keeping in mind the interest of the stakeholders. So that is called as responsibility. The next one is Vriddhi, which means that he has to take care of the growth and development of the people in the country. When we come to a board of directors, the CEO should also try to improve, try to develop the organization, keeping in mind the interest of the stakeholders of the organization. The third duty is called as Palana, which is maintenance and compliance. So here the CEO has to ensure that the organization complies with all the rules and regulations of the country, and they also take into consideration the various mandatory requirements. In other words, the organization should be transparent in all its dealings. So they should always go in the right or the moral path and not in the illegal path. The last one is Yogakshema, which means welfare. So the king has to take care of the welfare of the people, which means that he has to be fair to all. He has to give equal opportunity to all. So the CEO or the board of directors have to ensure that they give fairness or they are fair in dealing with not only their employees, but also the clients, the customers, the suppliers, the supply chain agents. So everybody or all the stakeholders with whom they are involved, they have to be fair to all. So that is how Arthashastra provides the basic platform or the framework on which the corporate governance stands today. So if you see the principles of corporate governance, the principles of corporate governance is based upon the Arthashastra. So what is corporate governance today? It is rules or politics, policies, or procedures of how an organization directs or leads the company. So it provides the entire framework of how to take the organization from forward, which is given by the Arthashastra. And the three basic conflict areas is that always there is a discrepancy between what the CEO wants and what the stakeholder wants. So the CEO cannot take care of his own interests. The CEO has to take care of the interest of the stakeholders first. So that is a dilemma which always happens. Another thing is that every organization has to minimize the risk. Okay, they have to minimize the risk, and they also have to be accountable and transparent in all the dealings that they are involved. So that is also another area which corporate governance takes care of. The third thing is that every organization has their own objectives, vision and mission, and the vision and mission should also translate or also should imbibe the governance aspects of an organization. So if I have a vision or a mission which is illegal, naturally then corporate governance cannot be regulated in that particular organization. So these are the three basic objectives of corporate governance. And when we see the principles of corporate governance, we find the first one is shareholder primacy, which means that the shareholder has to be given importance. So when there is a dilemma between the CEO and the shareholder, naturally the shareholder should win the particular decision, and his interest should be first taken care of. So the CEO, the board of directors have a lot of duties and obligations towards the stakeholders. They have to run the organizations in an ethical, accountable, and transparent manner. So we see that these are the basic principles of corporate governance, and it is very much coinciding with that of the governance as said in the Arthashastra. So now, let's see what are the basic issues of governance. So governance takes care of executive compensation. Several times we find that in the industry, there is always a disparity. A CEO gets a huge amount of salary, which is more than 50% of what the other employees get. So that is one area of debate, one area where there is continuous dispute which is happening in organizations. So corporate governance should also have a clear-cut idea or clear-cut policy of what the executive compensation should be. They also should take care of equity, inclusion, and diversity. So when we speak about diversity, it talks about how diverse or how different are your employees. When we say inclusion, you have to also include them in all the activities of the organization. So the board diversity, equity, and inclusion should not stop at the board level. It should go to the employees level, it should go to the suppliers level, it should go to the clients level, it should go to your end consumers level. So there should be diversity across all stakeholders of the organization. And the next one is compliance. So governance also takes care of complying with the mandatory requirements, which includes various protection regulations, then occupational safety and health hazards thing. Then they have to take care of labor laws. Data privacy is becoming one major issue that is gaining significance in the recent times. Internal controls, risk management, audit. So all these are some of the common areas where governance plays a very, very significant role. So now let's move on towards ESG. So ESG stands for Environment, Social, and Governance, ESG. So environment, social, and governance. So till now, whatever we saw was governance. When it was applied in organizations, it is called as corporate governance. So corporate governance was there for a long period of time and was gaining significance and transformations because of the various fraudulent activities happening in organizations. So later on, with the United Nations coming up with the SDG goals, 17 SDG goals, organizations have come forward, or organizations are forced to come forward to take care of the three components of this ESG. So sustainability should not stop with that of environment, because whenever we talk about sustainability, we always relate to environment. We say, okay, we are creating so much of harm to the environment, we have to enjoy, it doesn't happen. But then sustainability does not stop with environment. Sustainability transforms or translates into social sustainability as well as governance sustainability. Okay, so the environment sustainability, social sustainability, and governance sustainability. So ESG is an acronym for environmental, social, and governance. And it takes a very holistic view of sustainability. So with this ESG, it provides a platform where stakeholders are able to understand how the organization I am associated with is taking care of the environment, is also sustainable in terms of social and governance aspects. So that is why ESG is gaining significance today. So when we talk about environment, we are talking about how an organization is impacting the environment and what are the various practices of an organization which is causing harm to the environment in which it is functioning. So it includes a lot of direct and indirect gas emissions, stewardship over natural resources, and the firm's overall resilience against physical climates. So such as climate change, flooding, etc., and fires, etc. So these are some of the areas of environment in which the organization can play a very active role. Coming to the social pillar of ESG. So this social pillar talks about what is the organization's relationship with that of the stakeholders. So when I as an organization function, I cannot function independently. I have to come in contact with various stakeholders. So how am I taking care of them? Am I doing justice? Am I being fair to all of the stakeholders with whom I am involved? So that is called as social pillar of ESG. And the last one is governance. So as a CEO, as a board of director, how am I running my organization? Am I following all the legal stipulations? Am I complying with the mandatory requirements? Am I reducing risk? Am I increasing the value for my stakeholders? So these are some of the areas of governance under the governance pillar of ESG. So when you see here how the ESG factors are often described, this is a repetition of what I spoke in the previous slides, but some of the areas of concern in environment is carbon emission, water management, waste management, biodiversity, climate change, and material sourcing. So a lot of companies today are also thinking about how do I minimize the carbon emissions? How do I naturally source material? So naturally sourcing material is gaining significance, and organizations are going a long way in order to be nature friendly or environment friendly in terms of material sourcing. Next, coming to the social element, how do I take care of my employees? So am I following the human rights requirements? Am I having a diverse environment? Do I take care of not only my employees and my stakeholders, but also the community in which I'm functioning? See, for example, if you see Tata, anywhere they start business, Tata in South, you can also talk about TVS. So anywhere they start business, they immediately try to develop the environment. They start a school, primary school for the children there. they start a primary health center. So like that, you have to also contribute to the community in which you are functioning. So health, sanitation, labor management, employee welfare, all these are other components of social. Coming to governance. So what is the diversity of the board? Who are the board members? Are they functioning on behalf of the stakeholders? And what is the remuneration that the executives earn? What is the pay package? And how is their accountability towards the government in terms of transparency, fairness, responsibility, and accountability? So all these are components of ESG. So ESG has been undergoing a huge evolution, and now it has reached a stage where it cannot be any further ignored. So organizations have started to take ESG seriously and have started implementing in organizations, and the implementation is at a different level. Some organizations are yet to implement. Some organizations have started implementing. Some organizations have really made a break, a landmark in terms of ESG implementation. So this ESG related regulations in India are specified in various laws, which includes the Environment Protection Act 1986, the Water Prevention and Control of Prevention Act, the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act, Hazardous Waste Management Handling and Transboundary Movement Act, and Factories Act 1948. So these are some of the acts which are taking into consideration the ESG elements of business. And this ESG elements of business also gained very good significance when in the Companies Act in the year 2013, they said that the board of directors should also submit a conservation of energy reporting along with the financial statements for the company. So that was when the first time they forced organizations, or they encouraged organizations to submit a report on energy, conservation of energy. SEBI also followed that with that of Disclosure of Opportunities, Risk and Concerns and Threats Act. So they said that along with your annual report, how do you manage risk? How do you manage various threats that to the organization? So that report also has to be provided. So we know that in governance, organizations have to minimize risk, right? So this, how a company is effectively minimizing risk can be understood by this particular recommendation or this particular requirement. The next came the Business Responsibility Act or Business Sustainability and Responsibility Act, which made mandatory that the top 1,000 listed companies should start submitting ESG report from the financial year 22-23. So it is mandatory and compulsory, at least for the top 1,000 companies which are listed, to submit the ESG related report. The Indian Banks Association also made it mandatory that every organization should integrate their risk management into the decision-making process. So how well they are handling ESG into the decision-making process and result in recommendations. So thereby they are trying to bring ESG into the mainstream of the organization. And there are n number of principles of ESG, so which I have covered again and again. So it takes care of the stakeholders, it takes care of the various employees, suppliers, customers, the diversity, the fairness, transparency in terms of it. It takes care of the health of the employees. It tries to also take care of the environmental issues such as gas emissions, then climate change. So all these elements are included in the principles. So why should an organization? So we have seen that in the evolution, in the near future, we cannot avoid the ESG report. So what is the advantage if a company files an ESG report? See, first thing is every consumer today is very much aware, or he has a lot of information in his hands, which means that he knows in which company he is investing. He knows which company's products he is buying. He is following the company in various social media platforms. So if I'm buying from a company X, then I want to know whether company X is handling its governance effectively, whether company X is trying to be environment friendly. Is it a fair company in the industry? So every consumer wants to have that kind of information and wants to know whether that particular company is fair. So in such a case, if a company is filing an ESG report, naturally it will have a good name in the market. So people will start respecting the company, as a result of which it will result in better profits, better sales, better revenue, better profits, and excellent market share. Also, organizations, employees or consumers or investors would be willing to invest in a company which minimizes the risk and which is sustainable in terms of ESG. So if a company is sustainable in terms of ESG, naturally, I find it very much risk free. Thereby, I will start investing in such companies. Also, you have a social standing, people will respect you. And finally, you will get the best talent across the globe into your organization. So these are the reasons why organizations should report the ESG or benefits that a company will gain by reporting their ESG. So next, we are going to see the top 10 ESG organizations which are making an impact. So the first one is United Nations Global Compact. So I have also given the website of the company. If you have time, you can also browse through it and you can check out. So this is the United Nations Global Compact is the first company. Value Reporting Foundation. Value Reporting Foundation is a name after the merger of Sustainability Accounting Standards Board and International Reporting Council. Next comes the Carbon Disclosure Project, Climate Disclosure Standards Board, Global Reporting Initiative, Global Impact Investing Network, Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures, Institutional Investors Group on Climate Change, International Corporate Governance Networks, Global Sustainable Investment Alliance. So if you see all these 10 organizations, each of this organization has taken one particular SDG goal into consideration and have started to work on that particular goal to improve that particular goal. So these 10 organizations are doing tremendous work in improving the sustainability in terms of ESG across the organizations, across various industries. So coming to the top 5 ESG focused companies that are changing the world. Do you have any idea which could be the companies? Okay, so I will tell you. So the first company is Microsoft, second company is Linde, third company is Accenture, fourth company is JB Hunt, and the fifth company is Xylem. Okay, so here you find that this is across the globe. Okay, this is across the globe, not in India. So across the globe, these are the top 5 companies that are tremendously transforming themselves to be ESG compliant or ESG reporting compliant. So these are the top companies. She is Ms. Julie Sweet, chairperson and CEO of Accenture. And she has done a tremendous work in her organization in terms of ESG compliance and reporting. So according to her, she says that every company today have a lot of opportunity to transform how they do business. So to bring accountability into the organizations, achieve global sustainability goals. So she says that if you are accountable and if you are able to achieve global sustainability, naturally it will result in value creation, not only for your organization, but also for all your stakeholders. Okay, so that is why she recommends ESG compliance by organizations. And then we are going to now see once again, in Accenture, what was the need? So every stakeholder today, he wants his organization or the organization in which he is involved to have sustainable performance. So to be sustainable and at the same time perform well. Second thing is companies today know that if they follow ESG compliance, naturally it will result in better performance, both financial and non-financial. Thereby, organizations are also motivated to follow ESG compliance. Several leaders today are trying to be sustainable, but it is not always possible for all the organizations. So different organizations today are at different levels of ESG compliance. So Accenture also felt that no, we should become ESG compliant and we should be ESG sustainable. So that is one of the reasons why Accenture went forward with implementing ESG. So another important fact is that it says that every organization, whether you have already implemented or not, they are doing some aspects of ESG compliance. So you have to look out for the data, dig the data, try to measure the data, and thereby sustain the particular performance in over a period of time. So if you do that, naturally you will become ESG compliant or ESG sustainable. So these are some of the statistics. There was a study which was conducted by Accenture, and in this more than 10,000 CEOs, CIOs, CFOs, so they all took part in this particular survey. And this particular survey tries to ask information about the ESG sustainability, or how much they have implemented ESG, etc. So here it says that 78% of people reported that they have done a detailed analysis related to ESG performance, because so that is the impact across organizations. So organizations know that they cannot any further ignore ESG. So they have found that, or they have done some amount of research or analysis in their organizations about ESG performance. 59% of the companies or CEOs or CIOs admitted that they have done some kind of modification in terms of vision, mission, purpose in the last 18 months related to ESG. And then 47% have told that they have key performance indicators identified in terms of sustainability, and they are trying to track it across. Then 26% of finance leaders agree that they have very clear, reliable goals to measure ESG performance indicators. But 44% of them feel that they are currently incapable or unable to define or prioritize ESG as one of the disclosure effects. So right now, around 44% are not capable of implementing ESG immediately, which shows a lot of improvement is possible in this particular area. So this is one of the graphs. Okay, this is one of the graphs which talks about sustainability, enablement, and technology. So this particular graph is measured based upon two criteria. One is vision and capability. The other one is market impact in terms of ESG, sustainability. So here they are trying to divide this entire graph into three quadrants. The first one is aspirants, which mean that they are currently at a lower level, both in terms of vision and capability and market impact. So companies which fall under the aspirants cadre are Yash Technologies, Mindtree, and Emphasis. In terms of major contenders, so major contenders which are in between, they are neither at the top, neither at the bottom. So such companies are HCL, Wipro, Cognizant, IBM, NTT, Hitachi, and the people who are at the top are Infosys, Atos, TCS, Accenture, and Capgemini. So organizations are giving significance of how well they are sustainable with regard to ESG. So they have started knowing the importance, and they are working on the right path to be ESG sustainable. So we are going to see a case study about Accenture, because Accenture is one of the leaders which we have seen in the previous graph. So Accenture has made a promise which is called as Accenture Sustainability Value Promise. So what is this promise all about? So they have promised that they will be sustainable in whatever they do, with whoever they work with. Thereby, they will create better value and sustainable impact in the organization. So they have set sustainability goals in every aspect of United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. They also have created a 360-degree value. So what is this 360-degree value across the organization, across all the stakeholders? Are they transparent? Are they trying to be responsible, accountable, and sustainable? So that is what is 360-degree value. So 360-degree value delivers financial, business, and unique solutions to the clients, along with bringing all the partners with them to achieve progress. So it should be a progress in all the dimensions of sustainability, which includes client, talent, inclusion and diversity, experience, sustainability, and financial. So this promise they have made 360-degree value. So whatever they do, whoever they come across with, they will be sustainable. They will ensure that they will create value by remaining sustainable. So that is the goal of Accenture. And Accenture started with reporting, strategy, and leadership culture. So it's all started with the top management first, because without the top management, nothing is possible. So the chairperson and CEO, Julia Sweet, was highly responsible for the organization reaching such great heights in terms of ESG compliance and reporting. So this 360-degree value, the promise that the Accenture made, so all that was with the recommendation, or was with the consensus of the top management, and the top management was very accommodative with relation to the implementation of ESG. Second is they built a very strong ESG foundation. So they are a very long-standing member or partner of United Nations Global Compact. Remember, in the top 10 companies that we spoke about, we saw the United Nations Global Compact first. So they are in continuous partnership with such company, and along with those companies, they are trying to focus, and they are trying to build a very strong foundation in terms of sustainability in ESG. So the next aspect of implementation is raising the bar on data assurance and quality. So raising the bar on data assurance and quality is they made a promise to themselves that they will always be focused on sustainability, whatever they do, whoever they come across. As a result of which, they gathered all the data that they wanted, and they ensured that the data is resulting in terms of compliance, in terms of ESG. So the entire quality aspect was given utmost importance, sustainability aspect, and thereby they were able to improve the sustainability element. The next thing that they made was they applied technology in whatever they did. So there is a study which says that 60 to 80% of all sustainability improvements is possible with the help of AI, artificial intelligence. So apply intelligence, apply technology wherever possible. Thereby, you will enhance the efficiency of ESG compliance. The last one is designing a new reporting experience. So what they made was they took it as a new innovation, and they brought about Accenture 360-degree value reporting experience. So here they involved everybody who are a part of sustainability. So in making it very inclusive, they brought several people across, and they developed a better reporting mechanism, which is highly appreciated by industry experts. So this was how ESG was implemented at Accenture. So we saw about the 360-degree value reporting experience. So they launched this along with the 2021 annual reports. And this experience brought about for the first time all the people involved. So the financial people, environmental, social, governance people. So all the metrics was brought into consideration, and then they started reporting this particular ESG. And this was involved in unprecedented collaboration. So a lot of people came together. Thereby, they've made it very innovative in terms of content and approach. They also focused on the various information needed by stakeholders. So they made a study to understand what the stakeholder needs from the organization, and they try to provide all the details that is required. So it made it very compliant across the stakeholders, and they also answered or addressed the various compliance aspects of ESG. So how by being sustainable with ESG, they were able to create value. So that was what they gave in terms of reporting experience, which was highly appreciated. Then Accenture, as I told you earlier, they used technology to a very greater extent in sustainability. So if you see some of the information below, it says that 100% of participants said that technology is critical, but only 7% actually used the technology in sustainability. So which shows a technology could be used to a greater extent by several people. Then a lot of companies, 92% of companies are actually targeting net zero carbon emissions by 2030, whereas 70% of companies who have reduced carbon emissions, they said that they use the AI to reduce the carbon emissions. So which shows how much technology is of use. 11% of potential increase in ESG rankings came from using technology in sustainable development. And how sustainable technology contributes value. It shows that in terms of increased revenues to meeting ESG targets, close to 50% of the companies have said that they have been benefited by using technology. And companies feel that 50% of companies feel that CIOs play a very, very significant role in sustainability. So CIOs are chief information officers, and they should be a part of the leadership team while sustainability related decisions are made. And CIOs also said that they face 3 top challenges in using technology or embracing technology. One is lack of solution. Second one is complexity of the use, how to use it in sustainability. And the third one is lack of awareness. So these are the challenges that exist. And the 3 major components of using technology in sustainability is to drive sustainability, embed sustainability, and scale sustainability. So we will see how Accenture used technology. They said sustainability by technology. So using technology, they tried to enhance the sustainability goals or enhance the ESG compliance. So thereby they were able to benefit by technology. Second is sustainability in technology. So whatever technological revolutions, innovations we make, all that is adding carbon emission. So they also wanted to develop technology in a sustainable manner or in an environment friendly manner. So that also was adopted by Accenture. And the last one is sustainability at scale. So they wanted to scale up using technology. They wanted to make bigger leaps in terms of sustainability. Thereby, they will achieve greater sustainability at lesser carbon emission levels. So that is how technology was used by Accenture effectively. Accenture also made another important decision. So they started investing in Pulse ESG. So what is this Pulse ESG? Pulse ESG is a company which was founded in 2021, and it's a public corporation. Its main purpose is to empower organizations to improve their ESG footprints. So they wanted to reduce the carbon emissions. So they partnered with Pulse ESG, which is a great organization working on reducing carbon emissions. And this company is founded by Murad Sonmis and Inderjit Singh. So that was also one of the ways by which Accenture was able to enhance their sustainability levels. The next is Accenture, how they rose to the challenge, or what are the major sustainability goals that they achieved. One is net zero transition, sustainable value chain, sustainable technology, sustainability measurement, analytics and performance, sustainable leadership and organization, sustainable customer experience and brand. So when we talk about all these were some of the challenges that they faced, and they have effectively managed with the help of the top management support, and also by bringing in all the stakeholders into consideration and working on improving the ESG sustainability element in the organization. Now we are going to see some of the rewards which the Indian organizations received for ESG compliance. So ESGrisk.ai is a company. It is a wholly owned subsidiary of Acute Ratings and Research Limited. It is the India's first ESG rating company with an Indian specific assessment framework. So the framework has been given by the Indian government, and this organization is a bond and bank loan rating agency accredited by RBI and registered with SEBI. So this company was given the task of choosing the top companies with relation to ESG in India. So these are some of the overall ESG leaders. So at the top is L&T Finance Holdings for overall ESG leadership, Ambuja Cements for leadership in environment, Infosys Limited is leadership in social impact, Arvind Smart Spaces Limited leadership in governance, Infosys Limited leadership in transparency. So these are the overall ESG Leaders Awards for the year 2022. For environment, around 8 companies received the award. Ambuja Cements in leadership in carbon emission reduction, Mahindra Ultraspace Developers Limited in leadership in waste management, Ambuja Cements Limited for leadership in higher efficiency, J&W Energy Limited for leadership in air pollution reduction, Marico Limited for leadership in, I can't see, Shree Cements Limited is leadership in energy efficiency, Hindustan Limited for leadership in impact reduction, saltwater impact reduction something, then Aditya Birla leadership in green projects. So this is how organizations were given different awards. So some of the companies which received award for the social sustainability are Blue Star Limited for community support, Wipro Limited for societal developments, TCS for employment opportunities, Max Ventures for equal opportunity, Apollo Hospitals for product quality, HDFC for employee development. So these are some of the social sustainability awards. And finally, for governance awards, Nesco Limited and Arvind Smart Spaces Limited received the award in terms of board diversity and in terms of board independence. So some of the organizations today have understood, to wrap it up, organizations today have understood that ESG sustainability is the thing to be there. They cannot ignore it any further. They've also started implementing ESG in their organizations at different levels, depending upon the company. Some organizations have really implemented it to a greater extent. Some organizations are yet to make a mark. Now, the benefits of ESG sustainability is you have better market share, you have better growth, you have financial performance, good financial performance. At the same time, you are also contributing to the society, community, and thereby you are able to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So these are some of the benefits of ESG, and every organization today is at some point or the other in the ladder of ESG sustainability. So with this, I end my session. Thank you very much for your patient listening. I would be very much happy to take up any questions if they are there.
Dear participants, the chat box is now open for discussion. If you have any questions or if you need any clarification from the resource person, you may ask your questions. Dear participants, you may ask questions if you have any. Ma'am, on the whole, to be talking about the session, it was really useful. And the way that you have explained by giving the case studies of Accenture and connecting the need and challenges that the companies are facing in implementing ESG, it was really useful for us. And you have also elucidated in detail about the technology integration in implementation of ESG. That was also very insightful. Thank you so much for your wonderful session, ma'am. And I request once again the participants, if you have any questions or if you need any clarifications regarding the ESG implementation, you may please ask your questions. And the chat box is now open.
Okay, I think there are no further questions. Thank you very much for your patient listening and for this wonderful opportunity. I really enjoyed doing this session for all of you, dear participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
madam. Congratulations, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
No, thank you, madam.
And participants, now the feedback form is given in the chat box. Kindly fill out the feedback form. In the meantime,